what's happening, Stockton? My name is Toussaint Haki Stewart, and welcome to the sixth night of Kwanzaa, hosted by the Stockton Black Family Day. This is the sixth night of Kwanzaa, and this sixth night is featuring the principle Kuumba, which is creativity. This is an amazing, powerful principle that we need to manifest throughout the year and throughout our lives. Creativity. Creativity is something inherent in all of us, and it is something that we all have to do to make things happen. Stay creative. So what I'm going to do now is, as you see my kanar right here in our ancestor altar, I'm going to go ahead and light the sixth candle, which is the last red one, for Kuumba, creativity. All right, we got it lit. And now we're going to go ahead and read the theme of Kumba. To always do as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. All right. So we all can reach down deep inside and find our creative voice, our creative expression, and continue to make our community beautiful and prosperous. Kuumba to everyone. Now, we will go ahead and do a little drumming for our ancestors and our community on our ancestral drum here, the Jimbei Drum, which is played throughout West Africa and all over the African diaspora. All right, here we go. And after we drum, we will have a libation ceremony to honor ancestors from Stockton and to honor your ancestors as well. All right, here we go. Yes. Now, in honor of the evening, we will go ahead and call out some amazing ancestors from Stockton and honor them through pouring libation. We have our water here, which represents eternal life, and we have our plant that represents the community that is still growing with the power and acknowledgement of our ancestors. Our first ancestor, Edwin Nixon of the Inner City Theater, we say Ashe. Kathy Nixon, his daughter, we say Ashe. You are still with us. Vody McCullough, we say Ashe. Willie Douglas, we say Ashe. Booker Lee, we say Ashe. Allison Carr Ware Muhammad, we say Ashe. Albert Brown, we say Ashe. Lavina Moppins Gray, we say Ashe. Floyd Comfort, we say Ashe. Vic Harris, we say Ashe. Ben Reddish, formerly of the Esquires Club, we say Ashe. Thank you for your service, brother. Don Carter, we say Ashe. Rita Gurley Gross, we say Ashe. Shirley Orndorff, we say Ashe. Cleve Edwards, we say Ashe. AJ Floyd, my grandfather, we say Ashe. Ann Davis Floyd, my grandmother, we say Ashe. Daryl Stewart, my beloved father, we say Ashe. Wilma Alexander, we say Ashe. James Bell, we say Ashe. Now, call out the names of all of your ancestors. Anyone who I have not called, any ancestors of those watching us right now, I want to say Ashe 3 times in acknowledgement of your ancestors. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. Yes. Now, the ancestors have blessed us to continue moving through with this Kwanzaa ritual, and tonight's ritual is focused on Kuumba, the principle of Kuumba, which is creativity. I will now transition you over to Stockton Black Family Day board member and community activist, documentarian, and health practitioner, my beloved mother, Matina Floyd Okanlawan. Ashe.
Thank you so much, Toussaint, and thank you for that wonderful ceremony, that wonderful opening ceremony for us, celebrating tonight, Kuumba. Okay, so good evening, brothers and sisters, and Habari Gani. Habari Gani means what is the news? What is the news of the day? And the news of the day, as Toussaint said, is Kuumba. And what does it mean? It means creativity. And I'll just repeat the explanation because I think it bears repeating, and that is to always do as much as we can in the way that we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it. My name is Matina Floyd Okanlawan, and I'm Black Family Day board member. And I would say thank you to everyone for being here today to celebrate Kuumba. Our first guest is a very special and creative sister. She is Stockton's Poet Laureate, and she has been since 2015. She is also the founder and executive director of WOW, or With Our Words. Her name is Tama Brisbane. And Tama, welcome. Welcome to our Kwanzaa celebration. It is really special to have you here. So, hi. There's so much to talk about. So we better get started right away. So I'd like you to tell us about With Our Words, and it's better known as WOW. Yeah. When and why did it start?
With Our Words has been around since 2003, and it was actually an outgrowth of the Color in the Valley Arts Festival that we had at Sherwood Mall. And the founders and the organizers of the festival wanted to have a spoken word component. And so we kind of pulled together the first competition. It was youth. And then we had 125 poets from around the country come to Stockton to compete for the title of Step to the Mic Grand Champion. And in the course of doing workshops for the young people, we kind of tapped into this hunger for having a safe space to tell stories through spoken word and slam poetry. And that's how With Our Words was born.
Wow. Okay, and it is made up of young people, right? It's is it more young people than adults?
The executive board is adults. The population that we serve and the poetry collective, that's all young people.
Okay. I know that you all have been taking part in many competitions throughout the country, and you've won. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We have been a fixture at the Brave New Voices International Youth Poetry Festival since 2008. So we're now a legacy team in the B&B and in the worldwide poetry community. And we've taken young people from Stockton, our various slam teams. We've gone to Chicago and Dallas and Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. and pretty much all over the country. We've gone on national tours with Grammy Award winning artists and classical music. So yeah, we've done a lot.
Wow. Yes, you really have. So how can young people get involved with our words?
3 ways. You can reach out to me directly because I'm executive director. You can find me at here on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at Creatively Maladjusted. You can find me on Instagram at Creatively Maladjusted. You can email us info@withourwords. My website will debut tomorrow at noon, and you can always hit me up there. Find a teacher, find a poet. Somebody will know how to get a young person to our program.
Okay, and I think I just saw your email, Tama Brisbane.
That's my new website.
Website. Okay, and your new website, tamabrisbane.com. Okay, so just remember her name. Just say her name, and you can get to her on her website. That's great. All right. So, how can the community see the performances of the young people?
This year is going to be kind of a watershed year. We're going to be doing so many new projects. We're launching We Flow Radio. We are licensed by the FCC to have our own radio programs. And so we'll be starting that. And we will be doing a new edition of the Youth Poetry Collective. And we'll also be doing another all-city poetry competition to pick this year's national slam team. And we will be putting up videos and press releases and announcement across all of our social media platforms. So just be on the lookout for us. And you can always go to info@withourwords to get on our mailing list to get first word.
Okay, I'm going to do that right away. Thank you so much. Now, I also mentioned in the introduction that you are Stockton's own Poet Laureate. I believe you are the first one.
I am the first.
You are the first, and you have been Poet Laureate 3 times.
Yes.
So let's talk about your position as Poet Laureate. Okay. What exactly is it, and how is one selected?
Everybody asks me, what the heck is a Poet Laureate? The title Poet Laureate actually dates back to 17th century England. And it was awarded to someone for poetic excellence. And then as it matured and endured over the centuries, it has come to also embrace activism and advocacy. Stockton first joined the Poet Laureate community in 2015 when they put out the RFP, request for proposals. And so many people from With Our Words or connected to With Our Words had submitted their applications, and the Art Commission said, well, we keep hearing about this Mama T, can we hear from her? And at first I wasn't going to do it. And then my youth said, well, you can't ask us to reach for something unknown if you're not going to do the same thing. With, when your young people call you out, so I applied for it, and I was blessed to be named the first poet laureate in 2015, just in time for Michael Tubbs to ask me and Brandon Leak to take Stockton's delegation to Denver to compete for the All-American City designation, which we hadn't had for 11 years prior. And so Brandon and I choreographed a 10-minute spoken word piece. No bells, no whistles, no costumes, none of that. Just 36 people from Stockton telling our story through spoken word. And we blew all the judges' wigs back. And we won.
Oh, great. Well, I'm not surprised if anybody's heard Brandon Leak, and if anybody's heard you, I'm really not surprised about the win. Anyway, let's see. My next question is, so what are the exact duties of a poet laureate?
The poet laureate is, you're contracted to do X number of events around the city to bring poetry to new audiences to poetry, lend your gift to different events. So you've heard me present at MLK, you've heard me present for Pride Day, you've heard me present at different occasions throughout the years. And normally they'll only ask you to do maybe 10 or so, but every year when I get to my end of the year report and I look back, I'm always doing 50, 60, 70 presentations a year. If I didn't have my phone and take pictures, I wouldn't know how much I've done. But the idea is to keep the art of poetry present in the artistic DNA of a city.
All right. Well, you do it, and you do it well. Now, I'm not sure if our audience has heard any of your performances before. So when we talked, I asked you if you would perform a little short piece. Just give us a little bit. And you agreed. And so audience, be prepared for a real treat.
So this piece, the city asked me to do this right after we locked down because we were all freaking out. It was very difficult. And I always say art will do one of two things. It will comfort or disturb, and we're already disturbed enough. So I decided to write a piece to comfort us, and it's called Revelation.
Okay.
Sides, as though by decree, disappear. No south side or east side or north side or Brookside. Only a unanimous desert of inside relieved by fleeting oases of outside. Turf has become a tarnished trophy, undefended, because who wants to rep a block nobody's been seen on in the years it's taking these months to pass? The potholes on Pershing Avenue are easy to avoid now that the asphalt emptiness of 3 a.m. exists all day. There is a civic shiver at the unexpected echo of a hammer laying down until further notice. And we notice that we find ourselves missing so much, but nothing is missed so much as each other. A city of segregated, suspicious, and sympathetic, truculent, turbulent, and triumphant, obstinate, obscene, and outgoing, cantankerous, crowded, and compassionate, knavish, keening, and kindred, tenuous, tactless, and treasured, overbearing, ornery, and open-hearted, negative, notorious, and noble. Stockton. In our isolation, it turns out we are more community than we thought, and we will all find us again.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Now, how can the community support you as Poet Laureate?
Anybody that knows a young person between the ages of 13 and 19 that got a little too much mouth, a little too much attitude, likes to argue a whole lot, send them my way, because I have a place for their voice to be developed, to shine, to be elevated, and I promise you'll be proud of them.
Well, Stockton, you've heard it. You've heard it from the source. So please do that. Any child who is loudmouth, has got a lot to say, got very opinionated, just send them to Tama. Tama, I can't tell you how wonderful it was to have you with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. You have really fulfilled the principle of Kuumba. Thank you. Okay. So our next guest is a very special person, too, who also represents Kuumba. You know, Stockton's been blessed for the past 50 years to have Tommy Ware, known to us as Tommy Muhammad, who, among other things, reestablished the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam under the leadership of Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He is also the founder and director of Inner City Theater. So now I'd like to introduce Tommy Muhammad, Brother Tommy Muhammad, who will talk to us about Black theater.
Black theater.
Black theater.
Yes, thank you, Tommy, for joining us. So if I could ask you the first question, is Black theater important? And if so, why?
Black theater is very important. It is the process that gives us a reflection or a view or a magnifying glass into the culture and spirit and essence of our people, Black people here in America, in the city of Stockton.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You know, there are not very many cities that are blessed with Black theater. How did you go about starting Black theater here in Stockton?
Well, I started at San Joaquin Delta College, San Joaquin Delta Community College, under the direction of a Reverend Booker Guyton in a play our first Black play that we staged at San Joaquin Delta College. And I had to play a role that no one wanted to play, which was a Uncle Tom Get Low kind of character. And that, because no one would play that role, I volunteered to play it so that we could have our first play. And in that, I became really convicted, if you will, to theater. I loved it. I loved the character. The character was a buffoonery, but it was to step outside of myself, my real self, the militant that I was at that particular time, to play the Uncle Tom character was really something, and no one could believe it. And I played it so well, I got a standing ovation. So that then caused me to really take a good look at theater and the art form and what it could do for our community and our people. And Reverend Guyton, Booker Guyton, was a great director and just taught me a lot and gave me the spirit that I needed to continue in that field of. And that really wasn't. It's not a field for me. It's a what is that when you make a thing your habit? It's like a
practice.
Not a practice even. It's something that I love in terms of art and theater. From that, I started doing poetry. I became an artist. I didn't realize that I was an artist. And I became an artist and a person that really loved Black culture. I love the way we talk. I love the way we walk. I love the way we say them and that, because we don't say them and that. We say them and that. So I love all the rhythms that we have and the spirit that we have as a people and a culture. That's how I got involved.
That's great. Now, you use mostly semi-professional or just ordinary citizens in your plays. What can you tell the audience that the acting experience can do for you, an ordinary person?
What is it? What does the acting experience do for me?
Do for an ordinary person. If they take jump into one of your plays and come to the rehearsal and so on and so forth, what does it do to that person? What does it add to their life?
What it adds to their life is a reconnection to the spirit of your ancestors. August Wilson is one of the most fantastic and brilliant directors of Black theater on the national level in the national theatrical community. And one of his gifts is that he reconnects us to the spirit of our ancestors here in America. And theater, you have to step outside of yourself and take on a character or character of a play that was written by a great artist, and take on that spirit and really become that particular character, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. And that's what it does. We recreate our own life experience as African people in America.
Okay.
In a modern context as well as historical.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, lastly, how can Stockton support inner city theater?
Oh, boy. One of the things that we can get all of those who understand property, owning property, and business property to help us find a place where we can work, where we can actually work and be able to develop and direct and develop some of the productions. For example, the great August Wilson, who did Fences and No Longer at Ease, and all these different fantastic shows that have gone to Broadway, and we can reproduce those shows right here in our city, and we have character actors in our city that can actually perform those roles that they think that those characters that they think they might not be able to perform on stage, but because we have a strong community of theater actors and actresses in our city, if we can get that started, those persons will come out of the woodwork, and we can develop a really professional looking, if you will, theatrical program in this city, from children, teenagers, young teenagers, through adulthood and seniors. One of my most proudest moments was working with seniors in certain roles that, because if you do something like a Wine in the Wilderness, there is an elderly person in that particular play, and it would be nice for an elder person to play the role versus someone 25 or 30 taking on and being characterized as someone 70. But to get a 70-year-old to play the role is great.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I think we're out of time now, but I just want to say, if you ever see an inner city theater production advertised or a play with Tommy Muhammad as the director, believe me, it will be something that you will not want to miss. And so, Tommy, we know that lots of people in Stockton know you and have benefited from the many contributions that you've made to our city to make it more beneficial than we inherited. And you've done things, your work as a teacher, as a social worker, through theater, through the Nation of Islam, and more. And I just want to thank you for always doing as much as you can in your own special way, leaving our community more beautiful and beneficial than before. So we are out of time. I want to just say thank you to all for celebrating with us tonight. The principal of the day again is Kuumba, or creativity. And you have met two people who have been very, very creative and left our city more beautiful. They are still beautifying our city and leaving it more beautiful than before. So go out and create something beautiful, create something big or small, and join us tomorrow night, same time, same place, as we celebrate Imani, which means faith. And Pastor Patrice McCullough will be your host tomorrow night. Thank you again, everyone, to both my guests, Tama Brisbane and Tommy Muhammad, and to our drummer and libation ceremony person, Toussaint Stewart. Thank you again. And good.